Tatum, how does it feel to be
I got it.
Okay,
Go
sorry.
on.
how does it feel to be a part of this team? It looks like a lot of
Yeah.
new faces growing together and making a lot of progress so far.
It's been incredible. This team is, there's a special feel with this team. There's been a lot of special feels here at LSU in general, but just how we've opened up this season, these first 2 weeks, and the feel of this team specifically and how young and energetic and athletic we are. It's an incredibly special and unique feel. So I'm just excited for whatever's in store, whatever's going to come our way, how we respond to it, how this team continues to mesh together in response to, whatever this season may hold.
It's going to be hard for you to get innings with the two ahead of you, but are you happy with your role?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've worked so hard just to be back in the circle in general. So whatever my role may look like this year, I'm just incredibly happy to be a part of it. I know that those two arms in the circle are, it takes their success for our whole team's success. So however I can support that in whatever role, if that's relief, if that's in the bullpen, if that's just being a teammate, I'm incredibly happy to be a part of that and to be able to support them in any manner I can.
You were part of last year's team even though you didn't play. So what's the kind of vibe different? I mean, last year everybody there was a core group of seniors who came back and been here for years, and this year you're not seeing those names anymore.
It's a lot of young kids, yeah. I will, there's no denying the talent that last year's team had. I mean, we had incredibly talented seniors with Taylor Pleasance and Allie Newland and Sierra Briggs and Ray Gutierrez. Like, our seniors last year were hands down incredible, and I think they did a great job at positioning the younger kids that were on last year's team to step into a leadership role, knowing we'd have a very young team this year. So I think we wouldn't have this team without last year's seniors, absolutely, but it is always fun to just see how the new rollover looks like with the youth and the energy that all the young kids bring. So it is two very different teams in terms of last year. I think we had a lot of sluggers. This year we have just a ton of athleticism, especially on the base paths. So it's been cool to just see how we've kind of rebuilt ourselves as a new sort of LSU softball.
Can you talk about the energy a little bit in the dugout and how that feels as a player?
Yeah, absolutely. The energy is unmatched. I've never, first off, can't beat crazy is I think our motto. So I've never been a part of a team that's just been this energetic, but also talking about the right things. I think the conversations we've been having in the dugout has been so good and so softball oriented, which is super encouraging. You have so many people bought into what is this pitcher throwing? Can we pick our pitches? How can we steal on that pitch? So not just like energy that is expressed in terms of cheering and such, but just energy towards growing as softball players and as individuals.
With all the stuff you've been through, like the surgeries and missed games, and now finally getting back into the circle, how did it feel to throw 10 strikeouts in the second inning?
It was awesome. The only thing I was really focused on was the moment, and I was just focused on pitching. I wasn't thinking about anything else. So it just was incredible to be back out there. It's been a long time coming. I've told everybody, like, I spent so long working towards the light at the end of the tunnel that to finally be at the end of the tunnel, like, felt surreal. It still feels surreal getting to be out there and a part of this team and to just do what I can against the teams that I can, Like I said, I know my role, and I know if that's a supporting role this year, fantastic. I'm just so grateful to be out there and getting to throw and make a pain-free arm circle. Like, that itself is a blessing. So,
Do you have an off-the-field program for the maintenance of your shoulder, or do you do anything special?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked. I work with our athletic trainer and our strength staff, and it's kind of built into our workouts now. So it's not really anything I'm going out of my way to do anymore because of the position my shoulder's in now. It's in really good shape, but continuing the work that is in my strength program that's made out for me, continuing to do bands and heavy balls, weighted balls, all of those things pre-throwing to set my arm in a good position to go out and throw overhand and in bullpens. That's basically the maintenance we've been doing, and the treatment after, being smart and knowing when to trust my body and when my shoulder has to dictate, on days, off days. But for the most part, it's been really great. I mean, this is the best it's felt in a really, really long time. So I'm very grateful for that.
obviously, like, when you got Oklahoma State in this first half year, you didn't foresee that this was going to keep you out of softball for 2 years.
Yeah.
So, like, in the midst of that whole process, what kind of, like, what kept you rooted? How did you stay mentally, like, tough to get back to this? Did you think about quitting or stopping, especially when year 2 was coming up on not playing? Like, how was all of that?
When it first happened, I knew the damage done to my shoulder was pretty bad. I knew it would be a very difficult journey to get back to throwing. And I never necessarily thought about quitting in that moment. I had this like deep feeling that like my journey with softball wasn't done yet. It just didn't feel over. And that could have been denial, could have been a myriad of things. But man, I've never prayed and asked God for guidance more than in those moments. I really meditated on Esther 4:14, which is perhaps you were born for such a time as this. And I studied that book of the Bible like crazy. And it really got me through that first surgery. When I got here, it felt like I was being guided in a different direction than where my plans originally intended, of course. And then going through the second shoulder surgery, I always said 1 was fine, 2 was past the limit. And from the beginning, I was like, if I go through this again, I don't know if I'll be able to make it. And I couldn't have done it without my family. Like my mom believed in me every second that I never believed in me. And without them, without God's discernment, I probably would have quit. I would not have made it to this year, to these opportunities that I'm being gifted now. And so it's been a long journey. I wrestled a lot mentally. I grew a lot mentally. I went to a lot of sports therapy, sports counseling. And I still think that was the best decision I ever made, was to make sure mentally I was in a good spot, spiritually I was in a good spot, and then physically staying in a good spot and getting back to everything that I knew I could be. It was very hard, but without the support system I've had around me, I couldn't have done any of it.
LSU's playing the game, but I mean, it's probably not too much better when y'all take the field. So, what is this like, and how do you mentally prepare for cold weather games like this?
I think whether we like it or not, we're gonna have to play in it. So we're gonna practice in it today, get used to it, so we can be prepared for this weekend.
Is it just as many hot hands and space heaters in the dugout as possible? Or?
Yeah, try to be warm. I mean, I kind of warm up a little bit once I start moving around and have my catcher's gear on, so it's not as bad. So.
That's true. But for you, I mean, just catching that ball every single time. Do you
Yeah.
feel it or no?
Yeah, it stings at first, and then the longer I play, I get used to it.
Okay.
So.
I guess just kind of take us through your thoughts on the early portion of the season so far. What are you guys doing right? Where do you think you still need to improve?
I think we've done a great job, like hitting. We've prepared very well. We've held each other accountable for things, which I think is really cool. We haven't really done that much in the past, so I think that's going to take us a long way.
What are you seeing in the pitchers? Obviously, you got the best view in the house, right?
Yeah, we have a very diverse group this year, so I'm excited to see what they can accomplish. They're going to be really hard to prepare for, and I'm excited to see what they can do.
Do you like that variation? You know, obviously, you're not going to face the same teams, like this weekend for sure. But
Yeah, I think it's really cool to catch and just see how different each one of them are, and I think it's going to really benefit us that we have depth this year.
You've talked about Jaden and Sydney, but what about Tatum? What do you see from her? What are her strengths?
Yeah, Tatum's obviously very different from Jaden and Sid, so I think she's going to really help us as well. I'm super proud of her for persevering through her injury, though. I think that's super cool of her to come back and be prepared for us this year.
What are her best pitches? What does she throw, and what strategy does she use?
She's definitely a up ball type of pitcher, so very opposite from Sid and Emily, and yeah.
you say she's a drop ball?
Rise up, yeah.
How much, even, I don't know if this is a conversation, but like Sydney getting some help, right? Or having like a little bit more depth there in the circle to kind of not have to shoulder the load. Is that something you're noticing? Is she, a little bit freer?
Yeah, I think it'll help her body definitely this year, so we can have her through postseason, be healthy and stuff. So, yeah, I think it's going to help her a lot.
You were part of this team last year. Obviously, a lot of core senior leadership that you lost. How has that team helped prepare this year's team?
I think they've taught us just like our core principles, like our Tigers traits and stuff, and they just taught us, like, and me, how to be a leader for this team. So I think that's really cool of them to help us do that.
Seems like you guys haven't skipped a beat from last year. Just how is this team gelled together so far?
I think we've always had teams that just got along really well. We don't have much drama. We're okay with holding each other accountable to make our team better. So I think that's really cool that we're able to do that without people getting frustrated about it.
What's the key to that? To start it early and keep it consistent? I mean, like you talked about communication, I would guess. You know, like is that the key to having that kind of accountability?
Yeah, I think we've had like several team meetings about like just our standards and what we want our team to look like. So I think that's helped us a lot. We haven't really done that much in the past. So we've had some tough conversations about what we want our team to look like.
You don't strike me as a high-strung person. Pretty cool and mellow.
Yes,
and
sir.
Is that what you have to be when you're a catcher behind the plate?
Yeah, to handle all the different personalities for sure, yeah. So.
How's that infield coming together? What do you see, I guess?
They've been doing really well. I'm super proud of them. We have a lot of different faces out there sometimes, so we're still figuring it out, but I think we're going to be really good this year.
So what are you doing differently this year? Because this is the best start you've had in the first 10 games. You lead the team in bases on balls. You lead the team in slugging and on base percentage. So what is it that you're doing differently that you're seeing the ball better?
I think my confidence is definitely up this year. Just trusting what I've been doing. I've worked hard to be in this spot. Just knowing what I'm capable of and believing in myself.